Excellent. So hi everybody, my name is Lorna Golombick and I'm here to share a breakthrough that can change your life. ASEA's products have made a big difference in my life. As a physiotherapist and a busy working mum, I have many stories of all the little changes that they've made in my life. None of them are earth-shattering, and we'll be finding a few other stories tonight with our guest, Barbara Cullinan, who's also going to share her Redox experiences. So before we get started, I'd like to invite you to think a little bit about a few questions to get in touch with what you're looking for in your life. Do you have a health challenge or know of someone with a health challenge that needs help? Would you like to reduce the visible signs of aging? Who wouldn't? Do you need more energy to do what you love? Again, who wouldn't? Are you an athlete looking for performance? And are you looking for more time and or money freedom and a better lifestyle? So to live really well, we all need two basic things: a body that can do whatever you ask it to do, and enough money to ask it to do some great things. To have that body, you might be exercising. You might be watching your diet or taking nutritional supplements. You might be doing everything that you can think of, or you might not be doing anything at all. Frustratingly, no matter what you do, as you age, your cells respond less effectively to all of these strategies. Your cells naturally begin to break down, producing energy less efficiently and repairing themselves more slowly. If your cells could be just a little bit more efficient, your exercise, your nutrition, your supplementation, and everything else could be a lot more effective. You could be healthier, longer, and with less effort. So several years ago, scientists made a groundbreaking discovery. They identified molecules natively produced inside the body that help your cells repair and regenerate. Once discovered, years of research and development went into figuring out how to produce these molecules outside the body so they could be used as a nutritional supplement. The result is a molecular technology that helps your cells to work better. And when your cells work better, everything works better. Your exercise and diet efforts become more productive. Nutritional supplementation works better. You feel better, you look better, you sleep better, and you have more energy. So with that little summary, we'd love to hear now with Barb's telling us about what her Redox experience has been. So Barb's, just tell us how you actually got started in using the Renew and Redox products.
Well, that was your fault, really. You're the person that introduced me to it. Lorna, and as Lorna said, I don't have a really exciting story to tell, but I understand that it's probably still an important story to tell because there are those of us who use ASEA who didn't have a massive health challenge at the start. So without a massive health challenge, I suppose I really just had a passion to help people. I'm also a physiotherapist, so it's my day-to-day job to work on helping people actually relieve their pain and improve their functional ability and just improve their quality of life. So when I started seeing, or when Lorna started telling me about the great effects that it had with patients that she had seen and with the group in general, I was a little intrigued and I started having a little bit of a look into it. When I started ASEA, I really didn't expect to have any sort of massive results. I certainly didn't expect to have a detox, which I did have in that first week. Having not had a health issue, I really didn't expect that to happen at all, but I had a little bit of a detox in that I just felt exhausted. I really needed to get to bed early every night, and I felt really like I had no energy at all. I was quite disappointed to begin with. And then the next week kicked in and that things started settling down a little bit. It wasn't until 3 weeks being on the product when my husband asked for the Nurofen, which lives in the drawer next to my bed, because I wake up at 2 o'clock most mornings and take Nurofen for a sore hip that I've had for about 1.5 to 2 years. When I suddenly realized I actually hadn't used it for 3 weeks, and the hip pain that I'd been trying to fix myself and going to other physios to fix kind of disappeared. So that was really exciting. That got me really excited about the product. And then just overusing it over the last, I've probably been using it for 6 months now. I generally have a lot of hand pain and thumb pain from being a physio. I've been a physio for over 20 years. I use my hands a lot, very manual physio. I don't really have hand pain. I do if someone grabs them and pulls my thumbs, like if I'm pulling someone off the floor, but otherwise I don't have any hand pain. And I also have an old prolapse disc in my neck, which bothers me from time to time. And when it does, it normally knocks me out for 2 weeks or so. I had one fairly recently, got up at 2 o'clock in the morning for my typical Nurofen dose. Got up to have a banana before I took it, and while I was waiting, decided to put some Renew on and went back to sleep without having to take Nurofen, was cleared in 2 days and back to work. So those sorts of things have really made a significant difference to my life, especially because I need my hands and my arms and my shoulders to work every day, even in the absence of a massive health challenge.
Absolutely, Barbs. And I can comment on my own everyday, which is why I didn't give too much of my story at the beginning, is my everyday occurrence a few weeks ago. I had a really severe attack of swelling in my shoulder, which meant that I could barely move my shoulder, and I was in absolute agony. And I used a combination of treatments of what we do in the clinic, which uses biofeedback, which is why I was interested in using Renew and ASEA. And the combination of Renew and ASEA, along with the physio-key therapy that we do in the clinic, has meant that I've actually got full range back in my arm. And I've got a few little tweaks. I am going back slowly to work so I don't overuse it. But I was out for 2 weeks, and Barb's will attest to these sorts of problems. She saw me what I was like when I was really bad. And normally these things can take 4 to 6 weeks for you to recover. I was booked for a cortisone injection and didn't need to have it. So that was a real plus, that we don't have to take these, really severe interventions, and we can actually help our bodies accelerate their healing naturally and facilitate that. So, that's a huge thing for us to be able to do. And again, what Barb's talked about with her hands is, and her neck is, not being able to work. That's something which, all of us worry about. And, to be able to have something that we can just use at home and not worry about getting us back to work is just absolutely amazing. So Barbs, have you got any other daily uses and things that you've come across in your family that you tend to use your Renew and your Redox products with?
Absolutely. It's really become part of just general first aid in our house. We use it on absolutely everything. I take ASEA the drink in the morning and in the evenings or the afternoons, and I use Renew just on my skin every morning. I do that as a daily routine, morning and night. I hope it's going to make a difference. We're going to trust that it will. And so with that respect, I've got 2 teenage girls. One of them has a few issues with her skin. And her skin is looking beautiful with just using the Renew on her skin every day as well. In fact, some of her friends have commented on how lovely she's looking at school, and I thought that would be a great sales tip for me, but she simply said it's some really expensive cream that my mum gives me, which I was devastated about. We use it on cuts and grazes. I've got a little spray bottle, so if Luke grazes himself when he's out on his scooter, we just spray it on the grazes, on the cups. We rub it on bumps and bruises. I use it on muscle spasm. A couple of my kids get growing pains in the middle of the night. I'll use it on growing pains. We just rub it into the muscle. Snotty noses, sore throats, red eyes, you name it. That's our go-to in the house at the moment. And I've even got the kids saying, "Where's your magic gel, Mum?" or "Where's that ASEA? We need to use it," which is great. My husband especially, who's the most skeptical of all, he will actually ask for it now. If he gets mouth ulcers, he'll put it on his mouth ulcers. And every time he uses it, he goes, "That's amazing." And every time I have to say, "Yeah, that's ASEA." So it doesn't seem to sink into him that it really does work, but it's pretty much the thing that we go to first.
Absolutely. And I've noticed things at home, like if you slice your finger and it's bleeding, if you pop it in a little cup with ASEA, it's almost bizarre to watch, because you look at all this bleeding and then it turns into this big lump of blood at the bottom as it all kind of clots. So it's really quick at stopping bleeding. I think you had a finger bleed and I've done something similar as well. And same thing with my son. He's always in the wars, and some of the beautiful grazes and things he's had, we've had some amazing results in terms of just getting things to scab over really quickly and minimizing how long that scab sits around for, because of course they want to sit and pick at it, and minimizing the scarring is really good too. Sunburn is another one that we tend to use it on, spraying the ASEA on or rubbing the gel on if they happen to get a touch of the sun, and actual burns in the kitchen. So fortunately none of my kids have had any of that, but I've certainly had a little burn on my hand, which I popped it on, and it didn't even blister, which is amazing. You know, again, you're just not having to rush off and do all sorts of things. Now, I know we discussed when we were discussing what we were going to talk about tonight, Barbs. It's interesting because, again, we don't really think of how much we try and cram into our lives, but would you like to comment on your energy levels and your sleep that you didn't think had a difference, and then you reflected on things?
Yeah. Look, I do really sleep well. I thought I slept well before taking ASEA, but I really do think I sleep a lot more deeply now that I take it. And my energy levels, I just fit a lot more into the day. So I still feel tired at the end of my days often, but I start my day at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still pretty much working up until this time, whether it's on physio business or on ASEA. And then I sort of take a break to cook the meal for the family and go and sit and watch a little bit of TV with them. But at that stage, I'd normally be fast asleep in front of the TV. I suppose I'm just being a lot more effective with what I'm doing. I'm fitting a lot more in with putting this business into the mix of my very busy life anyway, and just managing enough energy to do that. So I still feel tired, but I think I'm fitting a lot more into the day that I've got at the moment.
I think that's the thing is mums and workers and being all things to everybody and trying to look after ourselves as well. We're often finding ourselves burning the candle at not just two ends, but three if there was another one to burn. And I know sometimes people think, oh, it's not always a good thing being able to cram more into a day, but sometimes we just don't simply have a choice. We can't pull back on how much work we're doing, and our family still needs us, and we need to be doing all those things. And I know I used to find myself, my son likes me to cuddle him at 8 o'clock when I put him to bed, and they're with my grandparents this week, so hence me being able to be on the call live. And I'd lie there with him, and often my husband would come and have to wake me up like at 9 o'clock because I'd actually fallen asleep with him. I can't remember the last time that happened. So again, just being able to have the energy to still be able to do a little bit else is good. From that side of things is good to be able to look at as well. So yes, it's a great way to basically be able to keep our energy levels up and be able to pack more into the morning and the whole day, as it were. Is there anything else you'd like to say about it, Barbs, that you can think of?
I think more than anything, I suppose for me, with not looking at this as a massive health issue that I'm trying to solve, but enjoying just what it's giving me, the benefits of day-to-day life. Looking at it from a business point of view, this has opened up a tremendous opportunity for me that I am building slowly, and I'm really building in not even my part-time, I'm kind of building it in my spare time at the moment. But being in the same position as you, Lorna, working in a clinic where we're constantly trying to help people gain better quality of life, gain better movement function, gain better pain tolerance. And so many of the patients that come into the clinic now have got other comorbidities, that we often probably didn't see 10 years ago, but we're seeing so many extra comorbidities, these complex systems of pain management and fatigue and those sorts of things. And suddenly realizing that there is a part to play here where I can actually help people beyond what my hands, the physiotherapist, can do, that there's something else that I can be offering and guiding people through. I think it's really exciting, especially if in the area of health and wellness. And so I just feel like this year is going to be a really super opportunity for me to expand what I can do for people, save my hands at the same time, improve my own health while I'm doing it, build a little bit of a base for my family so that we can have a little bit of extra cash to go on holidays and do those sorts of things. And doing it all while you're actually making a tremendous difference in people's lives is a really good feeling about doing that. It's not just making money for the sake of making money. It's actually changing lives first and then making a little bit of extra money second. And it's a great way to live your life. A patient once said something to me. He said, you're really lucky. I don't know if you realize how lucky you are, because while you're making your living, you're changing the way people live theirs. And I hadn't really given it credit for that before, but it gives everybody the opportunity to do that, not just people who are trained in the medical field. Anybody who's got any ability to talk to people can actually do those sorts of things now, and that makes it quite an exciting product to work with.
Absolutely. And I also think the wonderful thing is that we can't do any harm with it. And that's always a concern when you're looking at recommending something to someone is, side effects and problems that people could face. And, the only thing that people sometimes get that we talked about is detox, which just means pull back a little bit and drink more water and, listen to your body and sleep and rest if you need to as well. And I think it's exciting to be able to help empower people to take responsibility for their own health as well. As you say, as physios, we've got a limited lifespan that our hands and our bodies will last, as my body is telling me now. And so it's wonderful to know that we can still continue to help our patients and put the power in their hands and then educate them on how to use their bodies to avoid recurrences if it's related to something that they can actually change and monitor through their lives as well. Barbs, thank you so much for your time this evening. It's been wonderful chatting with you. And thank you everybody for joining us this evening. It's been wonderful to have you as our audience. I'm just going to read our little disclaimer that ASEA products are not intended to diagnose, treat or cure any condition. They simply empower cellular communication and cellular function within the body. So please get back to the person who invited you to watch this presentation and they'll let you know how you can get started to have your own Redox experience. So next week, we'll be hosting a Redox talk with David Penrose. He'll be chatting with Sylvia Christmas and they'll be talking about the dramatic results with Source when adding to ASEA and Renew 28. So I'm going to stop the recording now, and then if anyone wants to ask any questions, they can do so.